Finally out here. It is about 11:30 in the morning on May 24th, 2025. And as I'm sure you guys can see, I'm out at my spot in the woods. Unfortunately, that part has all been clear cut, but that's the nature of living in the state that produces most of the nation's lumber. So why am I out here? Well, I've had a couple projects that require a little more freedom and liberty than my local range provides. I love my local range, it's great, but they do have some rules that don't work for certain products, and so I try to wait till I've got a couple things that warrant the 90-minute drive to get out here, at the risk of there being other people out here or this place being closed down or something like that, before I make the trek. Also, as I'm sure some of you are aware, right not too long after the NRA show, I took a trip to Slovakia. That was a weekend-to-weekend trip, so that was 2 more weeks of not being able to get out here and get stuff done. So finally I'm at it. The first of these exciting, too risque for old man rural range is the Metatactical MX1, which I have set up here with a Sig Sauer MSR that I think was a freebie in one of those subscription box things that I did a few videos on, until they realized that I wasn't going to be pushing their subscriptions and they stopped sending stuff. But thanks for the red dot. One of the things about having lots of stuff to review that requires optics is it means either removing the optic from something you zeroed it on to put it on something new that you may or may not like just for the review and re-zero it, or acquiring lots and lots of optics. So for the little MX1, I think the Romeo MSR by Sig seems appropriate. This is a chassis type setup with a brace for Glock pistols. I currently have in it the Franklin Armory Glock 17, but I also have checked to fit the Glock 34 fits with some considerations. More of that will be on the full review, but I really just needed to get this thing zeroed. I'm going to take it to, well, I'm going to use it with AccuShoot. You guys have already seen plenty of videos on these types of setups. Brassfax has some great videos arguing for this format of firearm. I personally am not 100% in favor of the concept, just because if I'm going to have something larger than my sidearm, I want it to be more powerful than my sidearm. You know, if I'm going to carry something of this size, it might as well not be a pistol caliber. However, there are some merits, and what I plan on doing this for the actual review is running AccuShoot with this and running it just as a standard pistol, and looking at the performance enhancements you get from being able to have a good grip on it and stabilize the thing against your body, which of course, as we all know, is a safety and accuracy feature. It has nothing to do with being tactical. I just nudged one quick. So I got getting this zeroed while I'm out here. I know it's a long drive to make just to zero, but zeroing it at AccuShoot seems like a waste of using AccuShoot's capabilities. So might as well do it out here. But the big reason I'm out here, as you guys know, this channel, well, the main channel, was the first place that anybody ever heard about Genesis Arms from media. That's right, that was another GBGuns first, was the Genesis Arms Gen12. Long before Grand Thumb, long before John Wick, all that. I was reviewing those things, and it's been, I think, like 8 years now. A lot of advancements, and sort of as a thanks to a very long relationship with them and some work that I've done that's not necessarily public interactions with them, I now have a 5-inch SBS. That's right, an actual SBS with the Huxworks Ventum 12 on there. This is a 2-stamp gun, my first 2-stamp gun. So I've got a 5-inch 12 gauge done in woodland, the first camo pattern I ever wore in service. So I think that's extra cool. Very, very sexy, fancy setup that I'm excited to play with. However, I just can't play with it at the local range. So I came out here to put some rounds through it. I already know it works. I've already shot it. I couldn't wait that long. I just was shooting it in situations where I couldn't film. But I'm really curious what you get out of a 5-inch 12 gauge. And I also want to explain a little more about why the suppressor is on here and what its function is for this firearm, because it's a little different than you might think at surface level. Did some research, talked a lot with Genesis Arms about it, and I now have a deeper understanding of what this setup is. This setup, by the way, was always kind of the dream of Genesis Arms, of making something like this. Why? Well, more on that'll be in the video. And then I do have one handgun. Handguns are not worth driving all the way out here for, but since I'm here, I figured I might as well bring it, and that is the Rost Martin RM1C Comp. That is the ported version of the RM1C. I wanted to knock out its review since I plan on in a couple days, hopefully, filming at AccuShoot, where I can side-by-side it with the original, and we can take a look at performance differences gained from that ported barrel. So, that and some beautiful fresh air. And more than once when I've been out here, I've been coming here for 14 years now, we've had bald eagles perch on the tall trees and just give a little blessing of America. I hope that happens today. If it does, I'll be sure to capture it on camera. I'm going to get to work. Some of the, I guess you could say, not most exciting, or, well, still exciting, but not the most standard of GBGuns content, but that's why I got to come out here. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys are having a great Memorial Day weekend. The drive out here, by the way, is the same highway that a lot of the city folk use to get to the coast for holidays, and this being the first warm holiday, the first long holiday of warm weather, traffic was surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, but expectedly thick, and a little countering the vibe of driving out to this wonderful spot in the woods. So I'm going to soak in some of the peace and quiet out here before I get started. Thanks for watching. Success! All three of them are done. I'm getting a little bit sweaty. First real day in the 70s for me in quite some time. Plus the, working from home, office weenie, vampire life. That plus Oregon weather can make someone not used to heat. Anyways, the Gen 12. I had already shot that gun before. I snuck it out a couple times to some private things off camera just because I had to shoot it. I've had the thing for months. Man, is it an amazing machine. Wait till you guys see the video, especially how that can pattern at self-defense distances. You'd think a 5-inch barrel, 12 gauge, conventional wisdom would tell you, no way, it's not going to work. Man, it was awesome. The MX1, I got zeroed. I also had a little bit of fun. This will be probably at the end of the review video when it comes out, because the review video I'm going to film elsewhere. Just needed to zero here and have some fun here. Combining that with the Franklin Armory made for some interesting experiences. And then the Rost Martin did not disappoint. I wasn't shooting my best with it. I don't know what was up. But maybe you guys can spot that. So patrons, be on the lookout for all three of these videos coming to you soon. Everybody else, these are probably going to be June, maybe July releases. So be on the lookout for those. Thank you guys, as always, for more than a decade of support. I've not made a dime off of this channel. I've deliberately set it up to not be a for-profit thing. I've never done sponsorships for money. I've never done ad reads. I've never done a paid review or anything like that. And sometimes I regret that, in that this is not an inexpensive hobby to do. However, you guys have made it at least feasible through support with Ammo Squared and just having audience enough that every once in a while folks send ammo. The censorship crackdown that's been happening on the main channel has been really frustrating as of late. Views are less than half what they used to be. As a result, revenue is down, and of course when revenue's down, that enables me to do less things than when revenue is up, since I spend all of the channel money on the channel. And yeah, 45 videos deleted in November, or sorry, 65 videos deleted in November, all in one day. And then at least one a day deleted or restricted every day since then. They are really just chipping away at breaking down that main channel. So I appreciate you guys for being here. This was originally a recovery channel from when the channel was hacked and stolen. Got the channel back. Didn't know what to do with the second channel. Turned it into somewhat more of a, when I'm not doing a basic review place. And it's also kind of serving as a backup. So though it is leaps and bounds smaller than the other one, the ratio of subscribers to views is better, which tells me you guys are really the dedicated good folks anyways, the main channel gets passerbys, looky-loos, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially with my review format. I get it. People want to know something about a gun. They read my article, see the videos, they know that thing about the gun, they're done. And maybe they just wanted to do that for a purchase decision. That's cool. That's really what my goal is to help people understand things better, to make sure they get the right thing for their needs. However, I would not be honest if I hid from you the fact that it's disappointing sometimes or frustrating when I see Yahoo with sexy music that just makes things look cool and sells products. Watch that channel grow into massive success and constantly enabling them to do more and more and get better deals with companies. It's frustrating, and sometimes when I see a company work with a channel like that, I think, okay, now I know more about this company and who they really want their audience to be, who they want their customer to be. The flip side of that is it makes me appreciate companies that work with GBGuns all the more, because I realize those are companies that are more interested in having good information out there and making sure that people who do buy their products know about them, understand them, and enjoy them, versus just buying them because somebody said it was cool. Yeah, rant over. I'm going to pack this stuff up and begin the long drive back home. Thanks as always.
Thank you to our Patreon supporters. GBGuns and I do to level. Derek S. Jr., Joseph T. Algie DeRay, Tom Scott King, Brian P. Rich, Moises S. Fast Eddie, Talent 115, Marvin T. David F. Donald H. Jenna Greg K. Hey, thanks for the tip level. Ronald W. Rusty, GPC, 1986, Robert C. Michael L. Edward P. Yeah.